Hey guys, this is Claudia here from the Bookkeeping Experts, back for more. One more week of education. And guess what? We're going to talk about Square again. There's so much to talk about Square because the integration is not perfect. So every once in a while, we find some bumps on the road. And one of them is when there is payment made with gift cards. Okay, now keep in mind gift cards are not tax when the client purchased the gift card because it is refundable and it is a liability on your books. But when the client pays with a gift card, then it comes out of the liability account and goes into sale. Well, when that happens, there's a difference in tax between QuickBooks Online and with Square. So when that transaction is coming from Square, there'll always be a little difference in taxes because with Square, it's going to say there's no tax, and with QuickBooks, it's going to disagree a little bit. So we're going to go around on how to fix that so you can actually match those transactions and not duplicate them. Now, there are times when those transactions cannot be matched. It just doesn't let you match. So when that happens, you will need to create a transaction in QuickBooks from scratch. We have a video on that. So I'm going to place a link down below, and that is when transactions need to be entered manually. A Square transaction needs to be entered manually. All right, so enough of talking. Let's go straight to the subject. Now, a question might be, so is it still worth it when I have challenges like that? Is it still worth it to keep it integrated? I'll say yes, because to keep everything manually, if you have a lot of transaction, it does take a lot more actually. So this is a better option. It saves you time. And this is a work in progress. I am thinking that as QuickBooks develop this integration, it will get better and better. And that's what our hopes. And but yes, we do understand it's not a perfect integration. So here we go. All right, so we are going into our slideshow. So matching Square transaction in QuickBooks Online when there is a gift card payment. All right, so the first thing that you need to do when dealing with QuickBooks Online and Square app integration is you need to add the transactions in app transaction before you add the transaction in banking so you can match them. So first you go to app transactions. So you click on banking and then click on app transaction. And you're going to find the transaction as you find it here. Okay. And we're going to look at that transaction 819019. Let's go to the next page. So we located that transaction, and I'm going to show you a little bit of detail on this transaction. You can click on the arrow right next to add to view details, or you can click on the 819019 itself, and it's going to open up the transaction. And that's the detail about the transaction. And I wanted you to observe that there is a total collected, there is the Square fees over here, and there's a gift card payment of $75. That's going to throw our balance or our matching out the door. Now, there are transactions that right where it says gift card, it says undeposited funds / cash or check. So when that happens is that there is mixed payment into this credit card payment, and some of it's cash, and some of it could be check. Those transactions should have been separated from the credit card, but for whatever reason, when it's coming from Square, from the integration, it is not separating. It's coming together, and it's creating an error. because when you try to match it in QuickBooks, there will be a difference. A difference if it is undeposited funds, if it says checks or checks or cash, it will be for whatever amount that is in there. Okay, so if $50 is cash or check, when you try to match it, it will be off by $50. Okay, but I will show you how to solve that, how to resolve that challenge. Okay, all right. So um, you will notice that when you will add the transaction, but it's not going to match it in banking. So first you're gonna see, you're gonna add this transaction in the app transaction, and then you're gonna go to banking and you're gonna find that transaction. And there's not gonna be, look, there's no green matching here, even though I added in Square already. So there should be like a green matching. But remember, it is off by a few cents. So that's why it's not matching. Now, if I just add this transaction, I'll be duplicating my income. And I don't want to do that. So how do I solve that? I'm going to click on find a match. And this is what, you're going to find the match. And this is the screen that's going to show up. And you're going to be able to see the deposit. And it looks like it's the same amount. Sometimes if it is a cash check transaction, you see that it's not the same amount. There will be a difference in there, right? So how to solve that? See this little button that says resolve? Okay, resolve right over here. So you want to drag it to the right, okay? I'm sorry, you're going to select the transaction first. You gotta click on the little box to select the transaction, and now you're gonna drag the transaction to resolve the difference. Okay, so and this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a line down below, and this line is how you're gonna categorize the difference in this transaction. So you're gonna usually I put a Square customer, and I will put sales tax payable, because if you select the whatever department of revenue, is not going to accept, so you do have to put the sales tax payable to be able to reverse that amount. You're going to do a negative 0.42 so you can resolve the difference. Sometimes it's for whatever difference you have in there. If it was cash here, the difference would be, I would put cash customer, and the category would be cash on hand bank account. That's that petty cash account. So you should have a petty cash. If you're dealing with cash, you should have a petty cash, and that's where we would be sending that difference. We're sending it to petty cash, because basically what we're saying is that even though the total sales was for, let's say that this one had $100 cash transaction, even though it says that the total sale was 82,9061, only 81,9061 was deposited into the checking, and the $100 was deposited into the cash account, the petty cash. It wasn't deposited at the same time. Of course, that later on you can deposit the money on the bank, but that deposit will not be a sale transaction. That will be a transfer coming out of petty cash. So you deposit money into the petty cash, and then you remove the money out of the petty cash and record it as a transfer out of petty cash into the checking account. But anyhow, this is how you solve the difference of this transaction. Okay. Now, once you add that transaction, you want to make sure that it was matched and not added. So to make sure, you can click on categorize. Remember that anytime you accept a transaction, that transaction go to categorize. So you click on categorize. You can click on all dates down below, and you can put the specific date of that transaction. Or you can just put Square here and just filter by Square so you can see all the Square transactions. And you want to make sure that every single Square transaction says matched and not added. Very important. If those transactions says added, it means that you're most likely duplicating it, and you don't want to duplicate transaction. Now, some people would just add the Square transaction if the app is not installed, right? If the integration is not installed, if you're just receiving income, and then at the end of the day, you're gonna record a journal entry for that difference. You can do that, but this will make sure that everything is added as far as sales tax, any kind of fees that you're paying, everything is accounted for on that transaction detail, and it's matched beautifully. If you want to see details of this transaction, you can click on that purple that says deposit slip income. It's going to open up that transaction and show you all the details. Okay, so all right, so transactions are matched into Square when we click on save on that button, right? So I wanted to go back there. Okay, so after you add everything, you want to make sure you click on the button down on the right hand side that says save, the green button. You may not see it really well, but that's a very important button to push, because that's how you add that, you match that transaction and avoid that duplication. Okay, so when the transaction is matched, you're not duplicating the transaction, like I said, and you should deduct the sales tax from the sales tax payable. If that's the difference, if it is the difference with cash, you're, like I said, you're taking that money out of the deposit into the petty cash account. Income transaction that has app integration, talked to you before, should always be matched and not added to avoid duplication. And sometimes the transaction will not match due to the integration issue. Like I said, it is a work in progress. So when that happens, the transaction should be created as a sales receipt, and the transaction itself that's coming from the app transaction should be excluded, not added. Okay, so that's one way for you to work around that. And I do have a video, so watch my video on how to recreate a Square transaction manually, sales receipt manually, okay? All right, well, thanks for watching. Thank you for watching. Wanted to show one more thing here. I'm just gonna bring my sample account here. I wanted to show something for you to become very familiar. So we went through all the slideshow because I couldn't do it on my sample account. For my sample account, I have some transactions here. So wanted to show you how the way to go about that. So remember, so banking, app transaction, this is the accountant view. It is easier for us to manage multiple transactions. So that's what I do. App transaction. So we always add those transactions here first. Now, these integration is a little different because we set up to clear the transaction into a Square clearance account. Okay, that is particularly useful if you have a Square bank or if you have savings and things like that, because everything will go into Square bank, and then when it comes into your bank account, it will be recorded as a transfer and matched as a transfer. So never added, but matched as a transfer, okay? So this works a little different. Wanted to show you. And of course, I want to add the app transactions first and then go back in banking and match that just like the way you saw it. But like I said, there's two transactions here in this one. Excuse me. You got to see my allergies here. So I wanted to just kind of show you. You can see a little better here and how to work. All right. Okay. So if you like this video, hey, please give us a thumbs up. Show us some love and share with your friends, with your family, your coworkers, everyone. So I love to give free education. I really do. That's my thing. I love to share my knowledge with you in order to help you take your business to the next level. Now, if you need extra help, I do offer one-on-one tutorial that we can, that one I do charge for it. But I can go on a one-on-one basis, and particularly on the issue you're facing, because things can get a little hairy, can get a little challenging with Square transaction at times because of integration issues. We'll be happy to help you out with those specific transactions. Now, if you need any help catching up or ongoing bookkeeping, contact us. That's what we're specialized, so you can focus on what you do the best. It is very important. It's very important for you to know your finances on an updated basis all the time. And the reason why it's so important is so that you know what you need to do to get to where you want to go. So it's your point of reference, like I always talk about, your point of reference. There's no way for you to aim a target if you have no clue where you are. You have your eyes closed. How are you going to aim to the right target? You can't. So that's why you need your finances in order, so you can look at your books and plan where you want to go. Very important. Yes, your CPA would love you because your books are up to date. Absolutely. Absolutely. But that information is not just for your CPA, it's mostly for you. So that's what a lot of business owners don't understand. And they just kind of push this a task to the end of the year, and really don't understand their business until the end of the year, when you look at the numbers of, oh, maybe it's too late because you already lost a lot of money because you didn't adjust something that needed to be adjusted. For restaurants, this is a must because, with the cost of labor and cost of food fluctuating so much and it's going up, it really makes a difference because it will help you, adjust menu price, or adjust your expenses, or maybe cut costs here and there, and find different ways to increase your sales. Anyhow, thanks for watching. I absolutely love spending the time with you, and I'll be back next week with more. So subscribe to our channel so you can stay up to date with the most updated information in QuickBooks Online, QuickBooks integration, and Square integration. And until next time, keep on smiling.